circuit in private hands, but here it is now, one of the newest restorations on the British Airshow circuit. Machines that together depict a significant part of the evolution of the production range offered by Westland helicopters. Now, both of these types and the Whirlwind, which is parked up on the flight line, are Westland-built derivatives of designs from the American Sikorsky company. So the Whirlwind was a derivation of the Sikorsky S-55, then the Wessex, the development of the S-58, and finally the seeking of the S-61. Breaking upwards and away. The type was first ordered by the Royal Navy in anti-submarine HAS-1 guise, and it came into service in 1961. For the Navy, it was the first anti-submarine helicopter that had been designed as such from the outset and with gas turbine power to boot. At that point, a single Napier Gazelle. And compared with the Whirlwind it was a huge advance. It gave the Royal Navy's anti-submarine helicopter force much better capabilities by night and in poor weather. It had a much larger payload. All round, its performance was superior. Soon there came the Mark III for the Royal Navy, by which time the RAF had started operating the Wessex in its HC2 guise. Much improved with twin-coupled Rolls-Royce Gnome turboshaft engines. It was ordered as a general-purpose transport, like Falklands underground assault patrol, armed with anti-tank missiles and machine guns. Its Mark II formed for the RAF. The Wessex could carry up to 16 fully equipped troops, or underslung load of 4,000 pounds. They entered service in February 1964, going on to operate worldwide in support of British interests and Allied forces. They served, of course, for many years in Northern Ireland, and in 1997, when the territory was handed back over to Chinese control, RAF Wessex had been the last British military aircraft stationed in Hong Kong. You see here, the HU-5 was developed as a twin-engined version for the Royal Navy to operate in the Royal Marines Commando support role, flying off the Navy's assault ships. They flew heroically in significant numbers during the Falklands campaign, deploying special forces, whether members of the SAS, the Special Air Squadron, or the SBS, the Special Boat Service, Special Air Service, I should say, the SAS, moving men and material around that theatre. It came at a cost. 9 Wessex of the Royal Navy were lost in the Falklands. 6 of them in the Argentine Exocet missile-armed Super Étendard strike aircraft attack against the transport ship, the Atlantic Conveyor. Wessex was used as a search and rescue helicopter by both the RAF and, as we see here, the Royal Navy. The Navy retired its last Wessex in 1988. The RAF, with number 60 Squadron, in 2003. This one was first flown in October 1966. It spent many years with the Royal Navy Commander Helicopter Force, not least on deployment in the Far East, before it transferred to the search and rescue role. It returned to commando support duties with 845 Naval Air Squadron during the Falklands War of 1982, being flown out to the theatre in the cargo hold of a short Belfast transport operated by Heavy Lift Cargo Airlines. It came back aboard the Royal Fleet Auxiliary ship, the RFA Oliver. Retired in 1986 and became a ground instructional airframe. That could well have been it. At one point it was allocated to the Royal Navy Historic Flight, but was never operated by them. Instead, Andrew Whitehouse acquired it, and it flew again on the 15th of February 2019 from the Historic Helicopters facility at Chard. That was after a restoration on which 10,000 hours were expended. And the results are clear to see. It is immaculate. It's been returned to its former Royal Navy rescue colours, of course. As it comes into hover at show centre, up above it, passes by the Sea King. The Sea King was selected by the Royal Navy as the Wessex replacement in the anti-submarine warfare role. It came into service as the Sea King HAS-1 in 1969. Search and rescue facilities in the South Atlantic, and then when the last of the rescue Wessex were phased out in the mid-90s, 6 new HAR-3A models were turned out by Westland with a digital autopilot, multi-sensor suite and all sorts of other improvements, many of which were retrofitted to these initial Mark IIIs. Sea King, once again in British skies. They're performing that vital rescue task around the coastline. And against such a familiar public face, the RAF, they also furthered that reputation in the course of many high-profile rescue efforts. It was RAF Sea Kings that were used during the recovery efforts following the Piper Alpha oil rig disaster in 1988. And they went on to appear regularly in the news in the aftermath of the floods in Boscastle and Sheffield, Cockermouth, Gloucestershire, and out the Virgin Train. Force would expect upwards of 1,000 call-outs every year. And that was before you added in the missions flown by the Royal Navy Sea Kings and the civilian Bristow helicopters operated Sikorsky. Or at least they did until early 2016 when the service was privatised. The last of the RAF Sea Kings, including this one, were retired. The task was passed over to Bristow helicopters, a company with a great deal of experience in the role. They now fly from 10 locations countrywide. The mixture of Leonardo AW189 and Sikorsky S92 helicopters. Still too many, I'm sure, the yellow Sea Kings will be classed as the most recognisable face of that particular mission around the UK. This one served with all of the RAF seeking units, including a time out on the Falklands. We withdrew from RAF service, as I say, at the beginning of 2016, put up for disposal, acquired by Historic Helicopters and moved to Chard in December 2017. It made its first flight in civilian hands on the 20th of March 2020, and if you look closely you can see it carries the coat of arms of the city of Durham on the nose. That was applied when the aircraft was in service at RAF Boomer with number 202 Squadron. In case you recognise this machine, it recently appeared in the BBC drama series Vigil, although they insisted that the RAF titles were painted out and replaced with Royal Navy ones.
Like for me, I was
Duxford this weekend in the form of the Bristol Sycamore from the Red Bull-sponsored Flying Bulls fleet in Austria. Unfortunately, that was precluded by a technical problem which has since been resolved. So maybe at some point in the future we can bring that, the historic helicopters fleet.
And it looks like there was somebody on board waving.
There certainly is, the rear crewman doing so. They've got a long and quite slow trip back to Somerset.
Presumably at some point they'll close the door.
It's Andrew Whitehouse, the founder of Historic Helicopters, at the helm. As the Catalina turns final.